Good evening, everybody, or good morning. I'm Natalie Bott, and you're listening to It's All Light. Today's guests are Madison and John Curley.
Hi.
Hello.
So you might have listened to Madison's episode about prickly Rock Livestock maybe a few months ago, and I had the privilege of meeting both Madison and John at their cute ranch and just felt like they would have a lot of great things to share, and so I brought them both on the podcast. So to get started, let's get to know you both a little bit better. What do you light up about?
You want to go first?
Well, it's easy. My wife.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe that's the corny, cheesy answer,
I love
but
that.
it is a truth. Maybe in order, sequential order, would be my wife, my children, and then, I am passionate about what we do, about farming, about agriculture, about living that quality of life that's possible to everybody, I guess.
Yeah, and I can't wait to learn more about what that means later in today's episode. I love that.
You kind of stole my answers.
So,
That's why I should have gone first. It's definitely my family. I light up about our ranch and the animals and our milk cows and just loving all of that. And probably another one is food.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who doesn't light up about food? But I love cooking and baking, and so.
And you make wonderful things too. I'm like, can I move in? I'll nanny your kids if you feed me.
Absolutely sold.
Yeah, you can follow her and see all her amazing recipes too. And your cookbook. Is it out already?
Yes, it is. It's
so
out.
exciting.
Yes, it's
Love that.
Just a holiday baking ebook. Most of the recipes are sourdough, which I feel like makes it pretty unique.
Love
and
that.
like true sourdough, like long ferment stuff, and
Nice.
really amazing. If you're interested, I just shared today. I don't know when this is coming out, but today I shared a reel on our page about the sourdough gingerbread cupcakes, and I did put the recipe. I put the recipe in the caption. So if you want like a little sneak peek about what the book's all about,
yes,
go check out those cupcakes.
I have dehydrated starter that I'm gonna start this Christmas break. I'm like, let's do it. I'm gonna learn it. And
I know. I saw your goal sheet and baking sourdough bread. I actually took a screenshot. I was gonna circle it and send it to you. Like, come up, let's bake bread.
I know. I literally will. Come see your new baby calf, which is just the cutest thing. It was born like a week or two ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Amazing.
1 week ago.
Yeah. And what did you name the calf?
Our son named it Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. That's why the Mando. I get it.
Yeah. Mando. Yes.
And so this was Frassie, your milk cow's baby.
Yes.
And then you got another milk cow
named, I did.
What did you name? Maple. Cute. Oh, that's so fun. Raw milk is so good.
Yes,
so good. Well, I love that. I love that you both said family. And John, specifically, your wife was like your first thing you're like, I light up about. Tell us more about that.
Oh, dear.
more about her?
Or just more about why that's your number one thing you light up about. And what does that do for your life, I guess?
Well, obviously, I lived both ways. Obviously, I was single at one time. And I mean, we got married and I was in my late 20s.
Yeah, almost 30.
And so I saw a good chunk of those years single, which was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I learned a great deal. But the joy and the benefit of having that partner, that relationship, is the best. It really is a wonderful experience. She is my best friend. And so when there's something that I want to talk to somebody about, or there's something that excites me, she's the one that I want to tell. And so it's a friendship that, I don't know, it's a long lasting, endearing friendship. And so, yeah, there's that time in your life when you're, in your teenage years, and all you want to do is hang out with your friends. You want nothing to do with mom and dad. You want to be with your friends. You want to rebel a little bit. Well, the cool thing about, having a wife that's your best friend is that you sort of are living out that kind of
Teenage
rebellious
dream.
teenage dream of spending all your time with your best friend, and that is fun.
I love that. I mean, yeah, ultimately, I think people can ask themselves when looking for someone to marry, it's like, do I just enjoy being with this person, like overall? And enjoy talking to them. Marriage is one big, long conversation, so I've heard.
Yes.
And yeah. What?
Well, and unfortunately for Madison, it's usually the same conversation over and over again, because I have to express my opinion more than once about the same topic. So
I think you're not alone in that. I'm sure every couple would agree with you too. Any thoughts on this, Madison?
I agree. He's my favorite person. I mean, that sounds so corny, but it's true. Like, he's my favorite person. He's my best friend, and I think that is a really key point in our relationship, is that we were friends. I mean, we became friends really quickly. We just clicked really, really quickly, and we're really good friends, and it's just continued. So it is one of the great things about being married, is you get to hang out with your best friend all the time.
So you think you both kind of knew early on, like after meeting and courting, that you wanted to be together? What was that like?
We knew really fast. It was quick. I mean, I guess we could talk about that if you want to, how we kind of our dating story. I don't know.
Yeah, let's hear it.
But it was quick. I always said that you had to date somebody for a year, and our first official date was like beginning of February, and then we were engaged in March and married in May.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it was quick.
You both just felt so sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, like he said, he was older. You were
I
what,
say older, and I'm like, I'm almost 30.
Yeah, I know. I just
great.
turned 29 yesterday.
Happy birthday yesterday.
Oh, thanks.
Fun.
But to me, he was 27.
27, 28, right?
Yeah, when we met, and I had just turned 22. Like, literally just turned 22.
Yeah.
When we met. And on our very first date, I mean, he said it probably with a little more finesse, but it was basically like, I'm dating to get married, so if you want to like keep dating, we're gonna get married. Like, basically kind of how it was on the first date.
Did that scare you?
A little bit, yeah, but honestly, it was actually kind of refreshing too. After dating guys who had kind of been like not
Just
that
wanting
way,
to have fun.
just wanting to have fun. I've always kind of been an older spirit, and he is too, and so we've kind of we connected that way. But the crazy thing too is people think it's so fast, but after that first date, we were literally not apart. Like, we spent every single day together, and it wasn't like elaborate dates either. It was just living life, like going out and checking cows or moving water, or
I love that.
Cooking.
So
the daily life you enjoy doing together. I love that.
Yeah. And our life goals were aligned. We both wanted the same thing, and it just worked.
Yeah.
Well, and even if it wasn't exactly the same thing, it became the same thing.
Yeah.
True. Interesting. What do
because,
you? Yeah. Go ahead.
We were different people, and we had different ideas and interests and backgrounds.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there was enough that we became one, in the sense of our ideas and our goals became the same.
Yeah.
And you already had the same values, like core values that could then help guide your decisions. So, John, what would you say to guys out there who may be lacking that desire of like, I'm dating for marriage? Because I'm sure most girls would agree with me. And some guys maybe are that way, but it's like our dating culture is so flipped and backwards, and no one really knows what's going on. So what would you say to guys out there who are like not dating for marriage but should be, or how they can express that?
I am not entirely sure they want the answer to that. The truth is first up is man up. We have a generation of men who are weak. And I don't mean to be mean to men listening, but there is something that has been lost in our culture
Yeah.
with teaching men how to be men. And part of that is realizing that relationships are for marriage. That is the sole purpose of relationships with a woman for a man, is to be married. It's not to be long-term buddies that just hang out. That's not a relationship. That's a cop out. So
Well,
Thank you. Yeah. I think people need to hear that more. I put a bunch of dating polls on my Instagram, and there were some videos and like reels that kind of were talking about that. It's like we need someone to like lead us safely, because that's like innately what we want. And yeah, man up. Thank you. What else, Madison?
we were even talking about this the other night, because obviously we knew we'd be on your podcast, and for a minute we're like, what are we going to talk about dating? We like didn't date. We
yeah,
we were married so fast, but then we kind of started talking about it a little bit, and we've been watching. We like periodic shows, like historical fiction shows are our favorite, and we were watching this young man was walking this young girl home, and he had walked her home like twice, and she's like, if you keep walking me home like this, people will think we're gonna get married. And it's like, what's wrong with that? And that's just how it was back then. Like, you spent time with a young lady or a young man like that, and people expected you to get married. And
yeah.
So it's changed a lot, where now people like, it's almost like a rite of passage or a bragging right. It's like, we've been dating for 6 years and we're like not married yet, or something.
And
you know,
it shouldn't be. That's not something to be proud of.
No, but it's almost portrayed as like, the longer you date, the more you have it all figured out, and marriage will be easier.
The truth is, that's not true,
the case.
though. There are issues and problems and experiences that you cannot have in a dating relationship. So you can date forever and still not get to that point where you're sure.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
That's not the way it's supposed to be. I mean, we have problems arise all the time. Challenges, issues, frustrations.
Probably arguments too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they come up often. I mean, it's not like a singular one-time event. These are real problems. But the point is that you handle them together as a couple. When you're dating, that's not always done. You're not always handling everything together. There's sort of an excuse of, this can be handled on my own, or they can handle their problems. And that's just not the way marriage is.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like tethered to each other. And it will be hard. Like, I think I love bringing on married couples too, because even though you only dated for less than 6 months or whatever, like, a relationship is dating and marriage. I feel like you date to have that type of marriage relationship. So the more we can hear about what marriage is like, the more realistic dating can become.
Yeah. Well, and what was I going to say?
Sorry, I cut you off.
But no, like, okay, so I'm assuming a lot of your audience is LDS.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. And because I mean, we are in Utah, it's very prominent here. And so active LDS couples usually abstain from intimacy, which is a good thing. But on like the opposite spectrum, when people are like, they live together, they're all but married, I feel like they're using that not getting married as like you were saying, a cop out. Because marriage isn't, I mean, it can be hard. It's work. Like, it is work to bring two people together with, I mean, different backgrounds and sometimes ideas, and then you add kids into it and figuring that all out. And so, but you're married, and so you're committed. When I feel like you're just living together or just dating, there's not that as high of a commitment level. You may really love the person, but it's so much easier to just be like, I'm out. And it's easy because we're dating.
When things get hard,
less responsibility.
Yes, exactly. And maybe that's what's scaring some of these young men now is that responsibility of like, or what if I make a mistake? And not only that, but we live in, I feel like, such a self-absorbed culture, all about me. And you can't do that with marriage. I mean, people say that, marriage should be 50-50. It's not. It is 100
Yeah.
all the time.
Giving and thinking of the other person and
Absolutely.
learning together.
And there are times though when I can only bring like 20. So he's got to make up for my 80 or vice versa.
Yeah.
You're giving your all the time. And there's no room in marriage to be self-absorbed.
What does that look like when I've heard like Brene Brown and people talk about like, yeah, if you're depleted, then you have to like communicate that so your spouse knows, like if there is a hard conversation, but let's say you are only at 20 out of 100, like how do you guys handle that, like depletion and serving and helping each other's needs?
I like the idea about communication,
Yeah.
but that's not always so easy.
It's
I mean, that's a fine idea to say, hey, I'm not able to do my part today. But more likely than not, if you tell your partner, I can't do my part today, you might just make them mad. I mean, honestly, like in the busyness and the frustrations of life, when you tell somebody, I can't do what I normally do today, that just might make them angry.
Or frustrated. Maybe not angry.
Yeah, maybe not
Right.
angry.
Yeah, but I would be bugged too. It's like, well, that's what you do, and if you can't do that, then what am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
All of a sudden it's like, oh man, now I have more to do. The better approach, and I think this just comes down to the core root of what developing a marriage should be, is intuitively understanding. When we're better and when we're doing better in our relationship, it's easy to tell when your spouse is struggling.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it becomes an act of love that you step out of your comfort zone to help them and lift them and raise them, because you see them and you know them. If they have to tell you that they're having a hard time, I hate to say it, but I don't think you're paying attention. I mean, quite honestly, if you're living such different lives that they have to stop you in your tracks and pull you out of your busyness to tell you they need help, that's a problem, I think. I mean, I think it's a fine idea, but ultimately, when somebody comes up to you because they can tell you're having a hard time and they lift you, they help you, they protect you, they feed you, they whatever it is that they're doing for you, it's out of love and it's because they know, and that means so much more. And and all of a sudden,
I love that.
Giving the act of service, it's not an inconvenience. It's a blessing to them, and it's something that they want to do, and that makes all the difference.
And the person receiving it feels that love. Like I think it's you can tell when it's genuine. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And we don't get that right all the time.
No, because I think there's a fine line too. Like you can't read each other's minds, and sometimes you get caught up in the hustle and bustle. I mean, we have our ranch and work and kids, and we have so much going on that there are times when I feel like both one of us is maybe not as in tune with the other as maybe needs be.
Maybe there do need to be some words said to help communicate. That's what I mean is, like, I think that's a fine idea in principle. In application, I think the better approach is to just simply
pay attention.
Yeah. What do you guys have an example of that, or what's helped you grow to pay attention more in that regard?
I feel like you're really good at that. Like he knows me probably better than I know myself sometimes.
Love that.
Because he'll come home and he'll be like, you need to get out of here. I'm like, I'm fine, as I'm like rage cleaning the house. Or
like go for a walk. Go clear your head.
Yeah, and he knows me, and once I get out there, he knows that if I get out and just calm myself down a little bit and regroup, that I will be able to come back and give that 100% a lot easier, because I've had that chance to kind of like recoup. So I feel like you're really good at that.
But on the flip side, too, I can become very frustrated quickly sometimes by that. Like sometimes if that's not jiving and we both feed off of each other's energy
Oh
sometimes,
yeah.
where it can go, that can go both ways. You can feed off of each other's energy in a really positive manner or a really negative manner. It can spiral out of control. If you're not careful, it can get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've in past relationships too, like one small argument, it's like becomes so heated and you're like, it's like dumbest thing we're fighting about too. And it's like, what, how did we let this happen?
Well, we have a little bit of an advantage point where at the end of the day, we have to go out and we have to work together to get stuff done. Like we have cows to feed and cows to milk and stuff to do. And so we have to work together. So I feel like that kind of helps us regroup and calm back down.
No, I love that.
We have to work together.
I feel like that's ideal. You need something that you have to work on together because that builds you closer. That helps build your connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the most important things for a person on an individual level, but perhaps even more important in a couple, in a relationship, is you need a vision. I mean, you need
a vision.
You need a purpose. You need something that you stand for, something that is part of who you are. You know it's what you are doing. You know it's what you stand for.
Like as a couple or individually?
Both, but
absolutely.
as a couple, for
I would say even more so as a couple.
Yeah.
Because who you become as an individual is not less important, but it does need to take a little bit of a back seat. It does need to step back just a little bit. Your pride is what I mean.
Oh, totally.
You have to be your individual. You have to be
still pursue your own interests and hobbies.
Yes, you have to be you. But if you can't set that aside for a minute, like you're going to have a hard time really connecting with somebody. Together. And that's where and ideally, if that purpose, that vision coincides with your individual needs and desires and drive, I mean, that's ideal because what you're working for as a couple also satisfies that drive for you individually. I mean, that's ideal, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe that doesn't happen in every case, but that is ideal if that can be done.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I've asked you in the past, Madison was like, yeah, you wanted this ranch life and John, you did too. And so for that individual vision to come together as one and for you to create this together has just like taken your life to that level you want it to be at. And for everyone, that's not the case. I have a friend who loves working out and traveling, and he always thought his wife would love those too, and she hates both of them. And they make it work though, and they're like such a great couple, and he had to let go of that pride in a different way to like have this marriage and love.
Yeah, it can absolutely.
And some people it may be easy. Like us, it was easy to find that vision. It was an easy step.
Yeah.
Some people may have to sit down and actually think about that. I know that sounds really weird, but far too often people are just letting life happen to them. They're allowing the circumstances, the events to just happen. If we're not creating our destiny and our life, well, we're sort of spinning our wheels. And so for us, that was easy. But other people may actually have to sit down and really have some serious discussion about what that is. And perhaps that's maybe what scares when you come back with the question on men. That may scare some men.
Yeah.
Having that deep of a conversation.
Oh, totally. Do you guys have like a written statement or a mission statement or like family purpose?
Not written, but
in a sense,
we do. Our brand,
your motto.
You can tell more about that. You're better at it.
So for me, it's really easy with a Western heritage kind of concept to use a brand, that would symbolize ownership of cattle or other equipment or properties, for example, as something that people lived and died for in the past. I mean, it was really something that people felt loyalty to, and to the point where, you read some of these histories, there's range wars fought over this concept of whose brand you were loyal to.
I watched the TV show Yellowstone.
I just say, it sounds like Yellowstone.
That's a little wild.
That's a
That's a little far out there, but
that's not accurate. For anybody who was wondering, that's not real.
that's not how we really.
From real ranchers, Yellowstone is inaccurate. Okay, sorry. Keep going, John.
But the idea of this loyalty to a brand is what they played that whole show off of, and it is true. So for us, it's an easy step to take our brand, which is a sun ray with an over an R, and it stands for Prickly Rock. But the idea for me, and when this was created, is that life is prickly, it's rocky, it's hard. It just simply is. Every single day has a challenge.
Yeah.
But the light, the sun, it shines every day. You may not be able to see it, the clouds may be there, but it's there. I mean, it's one of those things that when we talk about faith, people, like, oh, faith is knowing the sun is there. Well, it may be one of the easiest things to have faith in, that the sunlight will come. And with that comes the promise of a new day, new opportunities, new prospects. And so for us, the motto of life and the concept is that each day we look for the new through the light, for the new opportunities to become better, to provide better, to become anew. The faults and follies of yesterday can be left in the dark. It can be left behind us, and we can move into a new opportunity, new light, new possibilities each and every day. And from a very spiritual standpoint, we know that ability to be a new person comes through the light of Christ. It comes through that gift. And so we've aligned our brand and our motto and our vision along with that idea, very much connected to the light of Christ and to the world that's provided those opportunities to us.
I love
despite
that.
the hardship.
Oh, I love that. What would you add, Madison?
I don't know if there's really anything to add. You did that really well.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I think that's emulated through your guys' life from an outsider standpoint, like just looking at the company and your family and the things you're actively working on. And Madison, you talk a lot about gratitude, and you're outside and you're working hard, but you're also a mom and you're mothering kids and you're a wife, and you show that. And I think people love to see that. So it's really cool to see your motto lived out. I love that.
Thank you.
Would you guys say you're living the dream?
Trying to.
We try to.
Yes, we are. Everything that we set out to do, we're doing.
Yeah.
It may not be as big or perfect or exactly the way we would have worked it all out, but everything we set out to do, we are doing, despite the challenges and the hardships. But that's just part of life.
And what keeps you going, even though it doesn't look like maybe what you wanted it to look like, but you're doing it?
The hope that one day it will.
I like that. And that's your vision that you guys have talked about. You guys have this vision, and I feel like you're both pretty clear on what that looks like and how you're achieving it.
Yeah. Well, the only way to get
and without that, we would have quit.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if we would have started.
I don't know if we would have started.
Honestly.
It is far too easy in life to do nothing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about the whole dating concept, it is a lot easier to just not. The commitments, the responsibilities, those are real. And that's where the manning up thing comes from, because there's nothing greater either. So by taking that step or that leap into the darkness, if you will, knowing that light's coming to open up and show you the way, that's real faith.
Yeah.
And so for us, without that hope that it can be better, that it will be something generationally for our children to work and to live on and to benefit their lives, no, I don't know if we would do it.
I don't know.
You have to have that. And any real true great vision, purpose in life, I think that is a necessity. And the greatest adventure of all is truly getting to be with your spouse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the greatest adventure of all of it.
Marriage.
Marriage.
So you've been married how many years now?
It'll be
about 7.
just about 7.
7
It'll be
years.
7 years in May.
Fun. And you have 3
So,
little kiddos.
yep, 3 kids. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry, phone's getting mad.
You're good. I'm gonna pivot just a little bit, and I kind of want to ask you about part of your vision. John, you mentioned like agriculture, and Madison, you've talked about like healthy eating and healthy living. How does that play a role in your guys' life?
Well, we like to eat, and we like to eat beef, so
Yes,
I think they kind of go hand in hand.
I love that.
My love for agriculture has been lifelong.
Yeah.
I knew it from the time I was little that that's what I wanted.
And you grew up
I
on a farm, right?
kind of. My great grandfather was an apple farmer, but I never really knew him. But I knew that was there. My mother had horses growing up, and I loved horses. Still do. It's a great passion of mine. But from that, I always knew there was more I wanted. We grew up on a small piece of property, and I had a desire to be doing a lot more. I wanted to be a cowboy, a rancher. I wanted to have cows, and I wanted to ride my horses on Cowboy Mountain, if you will. And I still do. And nothing has ever really changed those desires for me. So it's hard to tell me like how has it been a part of my life. Well, it just has been my life. And I have just been a little bit too stubborn, I guess, to break from that. I've had a lot of opportunities to do other things, a lot of job offers, to go different routes, different directions.
I should say plug. John is so smart. I mean, I could go on. Madison showed me all these things that he does, and I'm like, whoa, he's a genius. So keep going. Sorry, John.
Well, just with that, like with all the opportunities that I have had, I have never been able to give up on the fact that I know myself well enough to know that if I'm not chasing this dream, I'm going to drive myself crazy. It's probably one of the only really like consistent things of my life is that I've known what I wanted. It's wavered at times, wondered if it's worth it, but I can't break from it just because I know myself well enough to know that. So it has been my life, and because of it, I have learned a great deal, and I've had a lot of good opportunities and experiences, and I've learned a tremendous amount that has become a real passion for both of us. And how does agriculture benefit us from a health perspective? How do we get agriculture to where we are helping to heal the land, our earth, the people, and this has become a passion of both of ours. Is really this healing food, this good food, good healing food.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's good healing food? Food from your garden, beef, grass-fed beef.
Basically, well, maybe I shouldn't say that.
You can say whatever you want
If
to.
the government tells you to not eat it, you should probably eat it. Drink your
Darn
raw
FDA.
milk. I know. Drink your raw milk. Eat eggs. Eat beef. Bone broth.
Vegetables.
Good vegetables. Good fruits. I mean,
Yeah.
dieting is not hard. People
Yeah.
talk about all these new diets they're going to do. I'm like, dieting's not hard.
Just
Just
eat natural food.
eat real food and you will be just fine.
Yeah.
Stay away from the boxes and the barcodes.
Yep. Sourdough bread. I mean, and you can even still make your own treats because food brings people together, and in a way that can be healing too. I mean, how many Christmas traditions are we coming up on that are based around food?
Oh, so many. Yeah.
And in a way, those can be healing, even if it's a cookie.
Yeah. A little bit of sugar is fine. Just moderation.
There doesn't need to be fear with food.
No, don't fear your food.
Be smart, be wise.
Yes.
Eat good food, don't be afraid of it.
Eat plenty of protein. People, I think one thing that people don't do enough of is they don't eat enough protein. I mean, I don't feel like I eat enough protein, and I'm like actively trying.
I was just say, and you
But
have protein.
yeah, I know.
I
So
literally
eat a
had.
lot of,
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say eat a lot of protein, eat good vegetables and fruits and eggs, and you'll be just fine.
Love that. I love that. I had leftover steak for breakfast, and it just felt good to get that protein in my body.
Yeah.
I attempted bone broth hot chocolate, but I think I added too much bone broth. It was really kind of
Oh,
salty and chickeny, and I'm like, don't
okay.
know if I'm doing this right.
If you want an amazing bone broth hot chocolate, get it from Paleo Valley.
Okay. I saw you
It
post
is.
that.
Oh my goodness, it is so good.
It's already mixed, right? It's just a hot chocolate mix with the bone broth already in it. Okay.
Yep, and it doesn't taste like brothy at all. And
Okay.
you can just add, so I just add like hot water to dissolve it, and then a little raw milk, and it's not gritty or anything. It's nice and smooth. It tastes like that, like the Stevens hot chocolate, but
Oh, amazing.
better. Like it is so good.
It's not as sweet.
No, it's true. It's not quite as sweet.
Do you add maple syrup or honey?
No, you don't
it's
need
already
to.
sweetened.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I actually add a dash of Redmond salt to give it a little more flavor. So
I love that. Yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky Redmond gets to work with Madison too. Like it's fun to see our seasonings with your meat and all sorts of fun stuff.
Well, we live for, or not live for Redmond. What am I trying to say? We love Redmond.
Thank
you.
Put it on everything. It is great. Well, we're kind of winding down for this episode. I kind of want to end with just life advice or dating advice or really anything that you feel like people should know. And this literally could be anything about life. Doesn't have to be in any of those categories, but just something that maybe has been imprinted on your heart in the last few months. A takeaway.
You know, I think this could be applied to a lot of things. It can be applied to everything you just said: dating, marriage, anything in life. With the hardships, you know, like the old poem, you can't go over it, you can't go under it. You have to go through it. And with marriage, you need to go through it together. I mean, everyone's situation is going to be different, but you're still going to have hard things. We still have hard things. And how you were asking, like, how do we keep going? What keeps us motivated? Like, you just got to get through it. So, and I feel like that is very contrary to a lot of cultural things right now, where divorce is so easy, where people just, it's expected that you get divorced from your first marriage and even your second. You know, people don't go through things together. So I think that would be my piece of advice, I guess.
I love that. Thank you.
What about you?
Cowboy Up.
There's a little cowboy.
You know, sometimes we just have to find the courage to do it, to move, to do something. Don't waste time thinking too much, because you miss the opportunity to actually receive something great.
What is it you and Colin always say? Like 10 seconds of courage or something?
Oh, yeah.
All it takes is 10 seconds of courage.
Yeah.
That was from like We Bought a Zoo, I think. Or similar lines to it. Something. They said something similar. I love that. And why do you like that? Why do you say that a lot?
Well, just making a decision can set motions and actions for good or bad into motion. So, yes, pray for wisdom, certainly, to make good choices.
Yeah.
But also remember that the bad ones you make too are going to grow you as well. So
and point you to the right one.
Yes. I mean, a mistake is only a mistake as long as you allow it to keep you down.
If you don't learn something from it.
If you can grow and you can learn, was it really a mistake? Might seem like it in the time. You know, hardships, nobody likes going through a hardship, but those hardships and challenges at the time from bad decisions, they are awful.
Yeah.
They quite frankly stink.
Consequences.
But they are necessary. And without them, none of us really truly become whole. And so what I mean by Cowboy Up and 10 Seconds of Courage is move. I mean, we need to not be so stagnant in our culture and in our generation. with dating, with marriage, with life.
Mm-hmm.
We need to learn and know our own mind. Spend some serious time in thought and prayer and meditation. Know your mind. Get up and do something.
Know what you
If
want
you
and go
like the
after
girl,
it.
marry her.
Yep.
You're going to have to make it work. But if not, that's okay. But if you want to start a business, find something you love
Mm-hmm.
and do it. Um, God only knows how much we're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So why we kind of owe it to ourselves to find out.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been really impressed by a philosopher recently who said, this life is going to kill you.
Eventually, everyone's going to go.
Eventually, everybody dies. It's
Yeah.
the only thing really for sure is that this life is going to kill you. And so you may as well go and play the best game possible.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to lose?
That's a
You
good
really,
point. What do you have to lose?
what do you have to lose? And that's what I mean by step up, step forward, and move. Right or wrong, in the end, if you allow it, good will come from it.
Yep, absolutely.
I love that you
That's
said
one
if you
great
allow it,
miracle.
right? You got to actively let that in,
Yeah.
let that good in.
Yeah, it's one of the great miracles of our Father in heaven is that no matter how wrong the problem, the issue, He can create miracles in our lives. And it's one of the things that I marvel over is how that is possible. And we are never too far gone when we allow Him to make a miracle out of the worst of sin or worst of transgression or the worst of mistakes.
It's
And
amazing.
it is amazing.
I'm
And so that's what I mean, right or wrong, move.
I'm like filled with just so much like joy and gratitude and happiness just from like these truths that you're kind of hitting home. I'm like, yes, it's so real and true, and like life is so worth living, and it's just beautiful that you exemplify that, both of you together, and have gone after what you wanted, and are a great example of marriage. And I think everyone loves to see that and knows that they can get there too.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah, I love it.
It's possible.
It is.
I think it is.
Yep.
I'll just bring my friends and we'll just keep touring your ranch and tell people he'll get married. And you can just be like, get married, John. You can just tell them straight up. Man up, cowboy up. You got this.
Well, yeah, I mean, at some point, you just got to do it.
At some point, you just, yep.
Fear is awful.
Yeah.
Fear is really quite a crux. It really can mess somebody up.
So I usually end up, but I have one more question. So you were talking about kind of growing and changing and like the beauty of life. What is one or two things that help you both improve together? Like individually, but you're a married couple, so it's like you're both helping each other become better. What does that look like?
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure, and we're not perfect. We're not even very great at it. But taking the time to pray, to talk, to connect, like those are important things.
Yeah.
Prayer is amazing what it does when you hear somebody pray for you and express those words for you. That's an incredible thing, and it's very powerful. That may be super important. I don't think I feel more connected to my spouse than when we are connected in prayer, and that is super powerful. But intellectual conversation, I mean, sometimes when you've been married, it's really easy to let the phone dictate your life or a TV show, and you become strangers or roommates living in the same home. And that, I feel like, perhaps the most dangerous of all things is when you are removed from conversation and from prayer and from study and from each other. Things can go south. The arguments become easier, quicker. But the like manner is taking a moment to pray together, to take deep conversation, and to hypothesize, to dare to dream, to create in your mind, intellectually challenging conversation
Mm-hmm.
changes everything.
Yeah, and kind of push each other, and it's okay to not agree on it because that's how you learn other sides of things.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'll share with you really quickly. One of the things that really impressed me about Madison on our first date, I actually went into that date probably not really expecting a long-term relationship. I guess it was the pessimism of just my experience.
Was this the first date?
Yeah, this was our first date.
Interesting.
So, I mean, pleasantly surprised, but this girl could hold her own. I mean, I was so used to, at this point, people viewed me a certain way and would oftentimes allow me to dominate a conversation or were timid around me or whatever that looked like. But not Madison. You know, she was able to hold her own. She had an opinion. And by golly, I said something and she told me, I disagree with that.
I love that.
And this is on our first date. You know, it took me off guard just a touch. I wasn't accustomed to a girl telling me she disagreed with me. But I will say it was refreshing. And I realized pretty quickly that somebody who could disagree with me in a polite manner, but come around, we could have a conversation. Pretty soon we realized we were actually talking about the same thing from a slight perspective.
Most arguments are usually that way.
Yeah.
But to have a conversation like that and see it resolved in a manner that really was beneficial, and we came together in a conversation on a first date, was something that impressed me.
Totally.
So yeah, having an opinion is important. Being genuine and allowing somebody else to have an opinion, like that's an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to add, Madison? Or you could have a different answer too.
No, I don't know. Yeah, everything we've been saying. Cowboy Up, 10 seconds of courage. You know, you never know how your life will change or how it will pan out or how long it will last. So go out and just live it. Life is too short to not live passionately. Find something you're passionate about and stay immensely interested in it.
Yeah. And number one, your spouse.
And number one, your spouse. And when you can do that together, that really makes a big difference. You know, we live a very different life than our family. None of our family lives the kind of lifestyle that we do. And so in some ways that can be a bit of a challenge because they're always telling us, you guys need to go out. You need to go out. You need to date. You need to go out. Like have weekly dates. Like while we have our cows, we have our kids. Like not saying dates aren't important because they are, but like realistically, we can't go out weekly. It's not realistic. But I think
you don't have to.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. But where I think our life is different, we spend a lot of time together.
Right. He's not going off for a 9-to-5 job. Your job is together.
Yeah. I mean, he does have our other business to run, and so he will go and do those things. Right. But I mean, we do morning chores together. We do evening chores together. We're together, and those quiet moments lead to conversations, like he was saying, like the deep conversations. So
your talk time.
Yeah. If you and your spouse or your partner or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, if you can find that something that you guys are passionate about together and just spend time together, just be together. It doesn't need to be fancy.
Well, and some of the activities that people do to keep themselves entertained are quite frankly empty, hollowed things.
Yeah.
They're things to pass the time.
Yeah.
Entertainment is fun, but if our dating, whether before marriage or after marriage, is focused on entertainment, there is something greatly lacking. The entertainment's great, but what are you gaining if all you're ever doing is seeking entertainment versus actually something of substance?
Yeah. You guys should open up chores and have dates. Have people come do your chores and go on dates on your farm and learn how to work together. I think that'd be so cool. I'm like, somehow I want to find a way to like work on a project together or go do those things, just like you said, because then they're not empty. They're not just fluff, I guess.
And like back to what he was saying before, working towards a common goal. I
Yeah.
mean, whether that's if people like to work out together or hike
Yeah.
together, or you're working towards a common something, and that I feel like that's really important.
I love that.
Instead of just going through the motions of life.
We've covered so much and I've loved every minute of it. Like I looked down and it's been 50 minutes and it could have felt like 2. Like that went by so fast just because I was loving every word you guys were saying. And I appreciate your time. I know you guys are busy. So thank you so much for chatting with me tonight. And this episode comes out the 26th of December. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year. Isn't that crazy? We're already approaching it so fast. I'm like, okay, gotta go Christmas shopping, get it all ready. If you need help wrapping presents, Madison, you can text me or I'll take the kids out of the house or something. So
deal.
Let me know. Well, I, again, appreciate you both so much. And I'll post on my Instagram when I go meet their baby calf. It'll be soon. So, well, have a good night, everyone. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Thank you.